Hey everybody, thank you for being on. This is a Diamond Leadership Call. We haven't done one of these in a while, and I know our team is used to our nighttime calls. But the other day I posted in the roundtable to hear from coaches to participate on our team calls. Amanda was one that commented, so we got to chatting, and she said, my strength is talking to the leaders. And I said, perfect, let's go ahead and set that call up. I'm super excited. I actually have never heard you speak on one of our calls, so I'm like really excited for this call, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. Like I said, I'm sure the recording of this is going to be watched a lot more than live. It is also the day before Super Saturday, and it's insane right now in Miami. So let's get started. Amanda is a 3-time coach, 1-time premier coach. She's a 9-star diamond, which is incredible. More incredible, she's a wife and mom of 4. She has 2 labs. Oh, good. More people are jumping on. And I'm going to have to mute. Do I have to mute some people? Gina, I'm going to have to mute you, girl. Okay. And she also, check this out. I know we have a lot of dog lovers on our team. She fosters dogs and big dogs, puppies from an animal shelter, which is so freaking cool. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda. She's going to share her story and give us the kick in the pants that we need, right? So
awesome. Thank you so much, Christina. I'm like shocked. We've both been coaches for a really long time, and we've never actually had the opportunity to work together. My leaders get to hear from Christina next week, and I'll be honest, if there's, someone that just stands out to me as a really powerful and inspiring woman in this business, it's Christina, which is really near and dear to my heart. As you'll hear through my story today, I am my absolute mission is helping to empower women to live their best lives, and women especially because of my own story. And Christina is definitely someone who does that for me, and I can see in her messaging that she does that for others as well. So I'm really, really humbled to even be here today. It's kind of funny. You get to hear all these amazing highlights right off the get-go with these introductions. Everything just sounds peachy keen, but what you don't get to see is the background. So I'm going to really today, through my story of how I got to where I am, that's kind of where those teaching moments are going to come in. So just so you can kind of get some insight as to where I was and how I got to this place where I am today with 4 kids and 9-star diamond and this close to the million club. Come on, come on. It didn't happen overnight. And I was thinking this morning as I was taking a shower, and I was like, where do I start? What does that moment come from? And I thought about, in coming to you guys today, about how there was this moment in time when I thought, even years are really my year. So in 2002, I got married. Really exciting stuff, right? And in 2004, I had my first son, which of course, amazing stuff. And then in 2006, I gave birth to my second son. And then in 2008, I remember on New Year's Eve, I'm like, yay, it's an even year. I wonder what exciting things are going to happen for my family this year. And in 2008, I filed for divorce, and I filed for bankruptcy, and I lost my house, and my whole entire life fell apart. And so basically in 2008, that was that pivotal year for me. I had a college degree. I have a degree in English literature. I had been successful pretty much my whole life up until that point. On paper, looked like everything should be perfect. I was a homeowner. I had 2 kids, everything was great. I had decided to stay home to be with my kiddos, which I'll be honest, I didn't love. So I was always kind of, not that I didn't love my kids, but that didn't come off right. But I was someone that always wanted to be challenged. I get bored very easily. And so I was always working on finding some source of income. So I don't know if we can mute those guys. Sorry. so I was like teaching piano lessons out of my home, and I was just beginning a career as a fitness instructor, which I use the word career a little bit lightly because it is very hard as a fitness instructor to make a full-time income. But I was doing odd things here and there. I tried Mary Kay. Beachbody is not my first MLM. I tried Mary Kay, and I just don't love makeup enough to do that. The point being, here I was in 2008, and I found myself accepting the fact that I married willingly someone who I knew to be a functioning alcoholic, and looking at my sons and thinking, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with them growing up thinking that this is normal and thinking that this is how a man is supposed to be. I found myself drowning in student debt and basically writing checks that our income could not cash, and just coming to that moment, like everything basically came to a halt. And so here I was, unemployed, really, bankrupt. My house was being foreclosed on, which thank God is a really slow process. So I didn't end up actually homeless in the process, but my house was being foreclosed on, and I was divorced. And so I had to go, okay, starting from scratch, what are we going to do here? And in 2009, I really dove into the fitness world. I started getting certifications to be an instructor, and everything kind of started to make sense. I found out that I really loved this community. I did not know what Beachbody was until I met Melissa McAllister, and she invited me and I said no. And she invited me to something else and I said no again. And she invited me again. I said no again. And then finally she's like, would you have coffee with me at Starbucks? And I'm like, I like coffee. I can do that. So I finally said yes. I had never heard of Beachbody. I had never heard of P90X. Shakeology was actually really, really new. I think it was maybe just like 6 months old or something like that. No challenge packs, no, 30-day quick start, no nothing, no training in place whatsoever. And had never even tried Shakeology. And she's like, I just think it would make sense for you to do this. So I trusted her. And I said, can I check my bank account? And I did not have enough money to sign up. And so I, like, with a red face and like tears in my eyes, because I was so ashamed, I asked her, would you meet me again in 2 weeks? I promise you I'll have the money. And who knows what she was thinking. She's probably thinking, this girl is such a waste of my time. I don't know, but she, as sweet as she is, said, yes, I'll meet you again in 2 weeks. I, basically survived, me and my boys, off of hot dogs and tuna. And I had a little itty bitty garage sale, sold a few things, like of their baby things. I just put together the money because it was $140 because it was Shakeology and the coaching fee, because there weren't challenge packs or anything like that. And I met her, and I had $10 left when I walked away from that meeting, but I became a coach. And I think there are two important lessons to learn in that moment. One is never prejudge, because had Melissa not decided to meet me again, she would have never had her highest ranked coach, someone who's Ooh.
I need to mute myself.
Someone who's helped her build her team and change her family's lives. So don't ever prejudge, because you never know, despite someone's circumstances, what they're capable of. And the second learning point from that moment would also be that never, ever, ever, ever accept a price objection, a cost objection. Because if it means enough to someone and they believe in you and they believe in the opportunity, they will find a way. And I'm really, really tough love on that. When someone tells me it costs too much, I'm like, what do you have in your house you could sell? Like, it's $130. You can, if this is important to you, if everything you just said is important to you, you will find a way. Because you know what, girl, there's nothing different about where you are today and where I was when I started. So those are your two learning points right there. From there, I did nothing really. Every little itty bitty bit of success I had in that first year was completely accidental. As a fitness instructor, I did sell some Shakeology here and there. I randomly made it as an Emerald coach, but not because I knew anything, not because I was trained. That summer, I went to my first event, and that's where I saw Carl for the first time, and it started to click. Like, oh, okay, this could be something. I was still struggling. I was still having conversations with the man that I'm married to now. We were dating. And I remember like sitting there with him being like, there has to be a way to do something I love or make money in fitness without killing myself. Because at that time, I was killing myself. I was teaching 15 physical classes a week. I ended up with mono. I was constantly teaching with strep throat, 100-degree fevers because I couldn't afford not to. I was killing myself, but I had no idea that Beachbody was a real opportunity. I just thought it was, selling Shakeology, and no fault of anybody's other than this company was really, really new and I just hadn't figured it out yet. But I went and saw Carl speak and I went, okay, like, let me figure out this diamond thing. And so I kind of made this little agreement to do, I think it was it 90 days to diamond, Christina, way back when? I think so. Okay. So it was a 90 days to diamond. And I think I did it in 30. Again, I had a little bit of influence, being a fitness instructor. So the problem there though was I was building my team with followers and not fellow leaders. And that's a learning moment for you guys as diamonds. Your followers may get you to diamond, but you need to sign future leaders to get you to star diamond, which of course is really the goal. So keep that in mind. Your friends and family, they'll still be with you. Some of those people are the people that are still supporting me and there for me every day, every challenge group, everything. And those people are great. But as you're building that, be thinking about, where your fellow influencers are. And so that first year, and I'm going to talk really openly about money, guys. And I just think it's something that is real, it's tangible, and it's something that needs to be talked about. So in my first year, I think I made like between $10,000 and $12,000. I didn't know anything. Like I said, I was selling Shakeology here and there. I hit diamond kind of with some followers and things like that. But it was enough for me to go, I wonder if I applied myself and like tried for this next goal, what could happen? And so for the next year, I pushed really hard. That was 2011, I guess, is the year that I decided like, let's go for this. Right. And so I pushed, I learned, I grew, and the company grew and the company changed, and I just started making Success Club a non-negotiable, and I just worked and did what I needed to do. And I remember getting my 1099 for 2011, and it was, I think, right around $30,000. And I was like, okay, this is a real deal. It was real money that I was like, okay, like this is a job now. Like I get it. Okay. Like, let's see what we can do with this. So it was just kind of that reassurance that like, if I just stuck to the basics, if I did nothing else besides continue to, back then, Success Club, you had to at least sign one coach also, just for the record. So I knew that I was signing at least one coach in the month and selling to at least 2 customers. That's what Success Club was back in the day. So I knew that if I just did that I would always have a real income, a 1% income. So I was like, okay, what's the next goal? So in 2012, we decided to go for elite. We spent the year pushing to 5-star, really focusing on elite, really going for it. We did make elite that year. That's why I have the star. And again, I'm going to talk about money here because that's really in the beginning years. Just to be very clear, that was my goal. I had to become a woman who could take care of the 2 kids that I had with a job that gave me the flexibility to be the one to drop them off at school, to pick them up, to be there for their events. I had to be present in their lives as a single mom. So that was the goal, was getting me to a place where I could afford to live and take care of my kids. So in 2012, we hit 5-star, we hit elite, and I made around $60,000 to $70,000. So basically what you're looking at is it doubled, right? And that to me was like, that was mad money. Like I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like I just was like, this is amazing. And it was the coolest experience ever. Like it's like, okay, like legit, I'm where, like if everything else, fell apart, whatever, like if I made this, my life's going to be great. My kids are going to be great. And that's when I went, oh my God, I've got to help other women do this. And 2013 came, we had all this excitement, right? Going into the year, we're going to push, we're going to be elite again. Everything, like we were on fire, right? And then we're like, I had gotten remarried, I think in 2000, my husband teases me because I don't remember when we got married. I think it was 2011. Okay. So I was remarried. And we were in a great place. And so we're like, we're going to build our dream home. Right. So we, cause he has a great job. I'll just put that out there. He has a great job as well. So we're going to build our dream home. We sold our house, our 2 kids, and the 2 of us and our 2 dogs all moved into a crappy little apartment because we had to, like our house sold really fast. Our new house wasn't done being built. And that was the start of the year of hell. We went to this place that was just awful. I mean, it was awful for us. The night we moved in, my husband tore his biceps tendon out of his arm. And so he was like completely helpless with it was his right arm. Yep, it was his right arm. And then it was awful, right? I think it's fairly common in dudes that are big lifters, right? I mean, not common, but I know a lot of guys who have done it. Yeah. And then, oh yeah. Ugh, gross. Anyways, it was awful. I saw it happen. And then about a month after that, it was the 4th of July in 2013. And my sister called, and my family, I live in Texas. My whole family lives in Minnesota. And she was like, hey, is Bill there? My husband. And I was like, yeah. She's like, is he right there? And I'm like, yeah. And I already knew, like, my face was just like, your face gets hot and that pit in your stomach comes up. She's like, okay, where are the kids? I'm like, okay, like, we're in the bed. Like, my husband and I went into the bedroom. Like, he just followed me. Like, I was just like, come here, he followed me. And she was like, okay, Dad has cancer, and it's lung cancer, and it's stage 4. And that was it, right? I mean, in that moment, I went, okay, he's gone. That was like my immediate reaction. And that was the 4th of July. And she's like, okay, next week, he's going to have, the testing. We're going to see like how bad it is, yada, 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 whatever. He wants, my parents were divorced. He's like, can you be there? And I was like, yeah, we'll do whatever we have to do. Right. So I hang up the phone, and keep in mind, we hit elite in 2012. So in 2013, as long as I hit Success Club every month, I was getting a $500 elite bonus every month on top of everything else. And I looked at my husband, I'm like, okay, how are we going to get me a flight for a week from now? How are we going to, yeah, I'm sorry. I know this one hits home with a lot of you. And literally he looked at our bank account and he's like, your elite bonus just hit, go. And so I was able to go. We sat in that doctor's office with him, and they're like, okay, when we put the CT scan or whatever kind of scan it was up, anywhere that's glowing is where the cancer is, except for your brain and your balls. Those just glow anyways. He's like, we have to kind of say that because people will be like, oh my God, my whole brain and my nuts, but they're like, anything other than that glows, that's where the cancer is. And they put the screen up, and it was everywhere, like everywhere. It had metastasized. He had liver cancer. He had bone cancer. It was turning into into his blood. I mean, it was literally everywhere. And anybody who knows my dad knows his patience is about this big. And so, I mean, he couldn't even stand like the doctor's appointment to have the doctor's appointment to find out. Like, he was like huffing and puffing in the waiting room, like just mad as hell that they weren't moving faster. I mean, he just was impatient. And they're like, okay, well, we want to start you today on chemo and yada, yada, yada. We're going to put in the port, blah, blah, blah. This is what we're going to do. And the radiologist was all this and that. And he's like, wait. If I do all this, how long do I have? And they were like, well, maybe 6 months, good, like you're going to feel sick for 6 months because of the chemo and the radiology and blah, blah, blah. And then you'll maybe get another 6 months. And he's like, okay, how long do I have if I don't do any of this? And they were like, well, 6 weeks to, 6 months, really. They're like, we just can't, we can't predict, but it's everywhere. And he's like, well, can you make me feel okay? And they were like, yeah, we can do it's called palliative care for anybody who hasn't been through it. It's basically like keeping them as comfortable and healthy feeling as they can until the cancer just naturally takes them. And he's like, well, that's it. I'm going to live until I'm done. Like, we're not doing this. If I'm going to feel sick for 6 months and have to be going to doctor's offices and, spending the money that it's going to cost, he's like, nope, forget it. I'm done. So we left that doctor's office with, prednisone and some, comfort stuff. And that was like the second week of July. And really from July to November, every time I needed to be in Minnesota for something, it was legit right after that elite bonus would hit. And I was able to be there for his friends, threw him this huge party, and I was able to be there for that. I was able to be there for some bigger doctor's appointments. And then as he was needing more help at the end, he stayed at home, like as long as he could, but he was starting to need help because he was so tired. So like, being able to like help him wash his hair and different things like that. While he was at home, I was able to go and be there then. And then when it was the end, when it was time to go, I was able to take my whole family of 4 on literally a moment's notice, because you just don't know, when things are going to happen. And we got delayed because of a snowstorm, and I literally missed the actual moment by about 30 minutes, but we were there. And absolutely 100%, the reason I was able to enjoy the last 6 months of his life was because of the work I had done with Beachbody and the work that my team continued to do. And here's an important note. Through all of this, I never quit coaching. I still hit Success Club. I still did the vital behaviors, because I knew that had it not been for Beachbody, I wouldn't have the freedom to do what I was doing. So when it was time to go visit him all the time, I was able to pack my laptop, and while he was resting, I would sit on my laptop and work, because you can build this business anywhere. I didn't find it to be an excuse. This community was what was keeping me positive. And while I found a lot of comfort in food and some unhealthier behaviors, I also, because of this community, gave myself grace for that. And I knew that when I was ready, I would have the tools to rebuild my health and my fitness and all the other things that mattered. And I really think because of the personal development that we do with Beachbody, I was able to survive and function through anybody who's had a longer death through cancer. You understand. It's a therapist actually explained it to my husband perfectly. It was like waking up every day and reliving his death before he even died, because to me, he was already gone. And so there are so many reasons why I will preach to my team day in and day out. I don't care what struggles you're going through in your regular life. You have to keep coaching. It's going to be your saving grace, whether it's the mental, spiritual side of it, whether it's the physical side of it, whether, some people, do use those workouts to get them through. I have a coach on my team right now who had cancer herself and did insanity during chemo, because she was like, if I can freaking do insanity while I'm doing chemo, I can beat cancer. And she did. And she's in the UK. And so the second, coaching became available, she's like, I'm in. Like, this saved my life before it was even available there. But I really, again, I have no excuses for people who say, I'm taking a step back. Fuck off. Honestly, no. Why? There's no reason for that. Do you push as hard? Did I hit elite in 2013? There's a reason why I always include one-time premier in my title, because you know what? I think it's pretty badass. In the year that I lived in the shittiest place I've ever lived in my life, that my husband, was sick, I didn't even mention this, but I had 4 surgeries that year. I had 4 surgeries that year, and I lost my dad to cancer. I think it's pretty awesome that we hit a my income, and I made my first sticker. So again, lesson to be learned there. There's nothing special about me, but if I can hit Success Club 5 and still not quit going through some of the worst stuff ever, guess what? So can you. I have no excuse. There are no excuses for any of that. Let this be part of why you succeed, not an extra thing that you have to do. And you know what? Sometimes when you're failing the worst for yourself, put yourself in service, and it will find so much value and bring so much value to your life. And you'll realize the good, even though you're going through the worst, right? So 2013 was a rough year. 2014, I struggled a little bit. I'd be lying if I didn't say that hitting Premier wasn't a little bit of a like, crap, I really wanted that elite. We lost rank in like the last week. It was a really close call. And so I decided to get a life coach. And it wasn't until we worked through some stuff that she's like, you love this business. Go for it. And 2014 was kind of our comeback. We hit a lead in 2014 and 2015. Again, my income just continued to which most of you probably didn't experience. I don't know how long a lot of you have been around, but financially, our income dropped for the first time ever. And that's actually when I had my 4th baby. I had a baby again in 2012. See those even years? They're big for me. 2012 was a great year. I had my 3rd baby. And then 2016, I had my 4th. It was a perfect storm for me. I took some time off. Again, I still hit Success Club. Okay. When I say I took time off, I mean from like pushing for all the big things, but I still hit Success Club. I still served others. I still took care of my team. Right. But we weren't pushing for a lead or anything like that year because I was enjoying, that's what I had worked for. Right. This is why I had built a 6-figure income so that I could have a baby and not stress about where the next paycheck was going to come from. I knew he was going to be my last. So being able to just sit there and stare at him all day was my gift to myself, that I had worked really hard for all of this. And yeah, like I see, Christina, you'll be able to nod your head here. Like I see these women in the round table sometimes like, I'm going to have a baby. How did you do your business? Blah, blah, blah. How are you still hitting the lead? Or people are, in labor, like trying to hit and like, put the freaking phone down and have your baby. Like, this is why you do this. Like my team, especially, seems to be then pushing through some of the really crazy stuff. So that's my little side note there. But the timing was really poor. That was a really bad time for me to back off the gas because 2016 was a tougher year financially. And yes, my income dropped, but it never has it ever gone anywhere near less than 6 figures. I was still making a really hearty 6-figure income. Right. And so, coming where I came from, I'm like, really, we cannot complain. Okay. Like life is still good. We're just not doubling our income every year anymore. Okay. Like let's prepare for that reality. But so many people left, right? They couldn't when it got hard, people bailed. And I'm like, how can you bail on something that's served you so well? You're healthy, right? You've got this amazing community of people. You're doing personal development every day and you're growing your mind and you're of service to other people. So you're bringing in an income while helping other people, either financially or physically or both. Why anybody would ever stop, slow down, or take a step back is beyond me. Beyond me. If anything, when things get hard, dive in deeper, right? Was it 2016? What year is it? It's 2018. Great. Okay. Sorry. I had to think there for a minute. 2017, we came in and yes, Lean In. Thank you. I love that book by Sheryl Sandberg. If you haven't read it, please do. But yes, Lean Lean In. It's just because, I backed off a little bit because of the baby. So then we went balls to the wall in 2017, and it was like literally like pushing a boulder up a hill to get, momentum. We did not hit elite. It was a total and complete rebuild. It was relearning this business. It was getting creative, relearning social media, relearning everything. Really finding out who on my team was still in it with me and at what level. Yeah, I feel you, Monica. I did not hit elite in 2016 either. And then, so 2017 for us was a total rebuild. And no, we didn't hit elite in 2017 either. But we made some really big changes that I feel like have permanently affected, our team. I know where I stand with everybody. I was able to let go of my expectations of my team and really go with, just learning and growing as a leader. I really, leaned into myself, I guess, and personal development, and went, okay, how can I improve as a leader? And improving as a leader meant, be humbling myself. I haven't had the best 2 years. So how do we learn? How do we move forward? And really giving other people the grace to go, you know what? It takes all kinds, and not everybody wants to be a coach full time and do this. So God knows we need nurses. We do need teachers. Not all of our teachers can quit, because I don't want to teach my children. Like I get it, and so really accepting my team for where they're at. And now really my efforts personally are focused on finding more leaders and the business, your life, or you just want you to think about, like, I always tell my team, like, I don't get too excited and don't get too upset. Like, I kind of just stay here. And I let everything else around me go up and down. The business did great. Let's we just keep going, right? Like, that consistently shows from being the front and center burner and literally put it on the back burner, but you still have to be stirring it. You still have to be cooking it. And by that, I mean, you've still got to hit Success Club. Let that be your guiding force. If you do nothing else, you can find 3 people a month. You're all diamonds here. You can find 3 people a month to help. Okay. And if you just do that, you never have to re-warm up your audience. People never have to wonder if you still here's your clue, guys. Have you ever gotten a message, do you still do Beachbody? And if you've gotten that message, you've done something wrong and you need to make sure it never happens again. There should never, ever, ever in your life be a point at which someone says, do you still do Beachbody? The message coming in should be, I know you do Beachbody, so blah, 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 right? So just continue to show up. It's okay to show your struggles. It's okay to share where you're at. And it's okay for it to be hard, right? It just makes you enjoy the process, but it's a little bit easier. But the key factor to my success and how I am able today, as Christina said, to have 4 kids, work this business full time, and still have the free time. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Brendan Burchard and his book, The Charge. But one of the forward driving charges, of course, is, basically volunteering, right? Being able to be completely of service and charity. And for me, it's my love of dogs and being able to give back. And that is something that, much like Beachbody, I love it just as much, but I don't get paid for it, but I get paid for it in the love of our rescue dogs. I have one, actually, I'm going to turn my computer because this is one of my foster dogs right now. Do you see her? Yeah, that's one of my foster dogs right now. That's Nina, and she actually has 7 puppies who are outside at the moment. But that's what I get to do because of the life that I've built. You know, I have the time to take care of these rescue dogs and their puppies. I have everybody tells me I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know. I love it. But I always do the mama dogs with litters of puppies. So I kind of get to be like a dog doula is what I've, decided that I am. Like I get to help them nurse and take care of the mamas after they have their babies and get them through the weaning process. And then just about the time they get to start being like, I would call it like the toddler phase of dogs. It's like the potty training phase. That's when we adopt them out and they go to their forever homes. So I'm like, I love you. You are so cute. So anyways, but the reason I get to do that and have that time and have the time to volunteer at my kids' schools and all that stuff is because I've earned it. I've earned that through being consistent. If I haven't said it enough, no excuses, being consistent and showing up and being the constant in my business. My team has never had to doubt whether I'm going to lead them. Never. Just had this conversation yesterday with someone who's making a comeback because her upline diamond went through the shit and disappeared on her, right? And, she finally admitted this, her downline admitted to me yesterday. She's like, I didn't say anything because she's a friend, but it really threw me for a loop. And without her leadership, I didn't really know what to do anymore. It just kind of, bleh. And so this girl's making a comeback because of other things and, was able to reach out and reconnect and what have you. But my team has never had to doubt, am I in or not? Am I going anywhere? They know through thick, through thin, through up, through down, I'm going to be here. This is what I do. Why do I do what I do? Because there is nothing else on this planet that I can think of that gives me the things that Beachbody does. Flexibility, ability to serve, a freaking 6-figure paycheck, even in the worst years. The ability to work from absolutely anywhere. People say like, oh, like when you go on vacation, like you're still posting, but like, oh, because it's so hard to post a pretty picture of me on the beach. Like that's my job. Oh, yes, so stressful. Totally ruined my whole vacation. What? Like, yes, I work on vacation. Who cares? I'm chatting with women about getting a relationship back with their husband because they finally feel good in their own skin again and they actually want to be with their spouse again. I'm chatting with women who have the finances now to leave an abusive spouse when they didn't before. They were silently working all night in the middle of the night from their laptop trying to make an income so they could leave their abusive spouse. And guess what? They did. And now she owns a dream home. And she takes care of her 3 children. Like, that's the shit I get to do while I'm on vacation. Sorry, I don't feel bad about that. So now, like I said, those first 3 to 4 years, really until I kind of hit the 6-figure mark, was very self-serving. I needed this for me. I needed to make this income. I needed to know that if I ever found myself single again as a single mom, that I would be able to take care of my kids, my family. And honestly, when my dad died, that pressure I feel like I felt it. Nobody gave it to me, but I felt like I need to be able to take care of my family now that he's gone, right? There's no safety net. He had been my safety net my whole life. There's no safety net there anymore, right? Now that, I feel like all of those things are taken care of, now my only mission is I've got to help other women feel the same way I do, which is empowered, confident, and able, right? I love my husband dearly and I choose him every day, but I do not need him. I can take care of me and my 4 kids with or without him. And that is not disrespect to him. That is just proof that that is what I worked for. I never, ever, ever want that to happen. I married my best friend. I did it right the second time. And we absolutely are a power couple. And he makes everything about my life and my world easier and better. But I don't have to. And I want other women to be in that position. And so what drives me today is working with leaders, like Christina said right off the call, like I'm so far removed from being a new coach. Sometimes it's hard for me to relate to that process anymore. But speaking with leaders and letting you know that if you just don't quit, if you don't accept excuses, and you never, ever quit showing up, you have this amazing ability and this amazing life waiting for you as long as you just show up. And really, is that hard? Is there any excuse for that? And the answer is no. So thanks for listening, guys.
Sometimes, I mean, okay, so number one, thank you. Number two, there's no training in the world to me that replaces a powerful story. One that just makes you realize what a gift we have in this opportunity at all levels, right? At the higher level where you're at, or even from as a new coach coming in, what they've just stepped into. So, God, we have a coach that's on this call, just so you know, Amanda Christina, who lost her mom last month to cancer. Not last month, February.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Sorry.
Your story hits really, really, really close to home for our team because we experienced the year with Christina. So thank you so very much. That I've never heard your story. Now I'm like, why are you on our leaders call? You need to be on the Diesel Nation.
Anytime.
I'm gonna share this call with everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any questions? I blocked out an hour, so if there are questions, I'm happy to answer more specifically.
Anybody have any questions? I think we're all just like, we need to go find people to sign up like right now. Like right now. That was so good. You know, sometimes all it takes for me when times get hard or feel challenging or I feel struggled in something is just hit the gratitude reset button and just say, okay, where am I right now? I am sitting in my home that is a construction site because of this opportunity. I am home with my children. I have a savings account. I have no debt. I am always surrounded by amazing women and men in my life that push me to be better every single day. Like reset, get into gratitude and just keep moving forward. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I just saw a question pop up from Erica Shepard. What was the biggest shift in your biz after the darkness of 2016? I think there were probably three things. One was one was not taking this opportunity for granted. I think that I had gotten so comfortable and so used to my income just doubling that I was like, this biz is easy. Not that it was, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you just take it for granted. So I think one of those shifts was like, nope, you have not made it, sister. Like, get out of management mode, get in the grind. SE10 is a non-negotiable. Signing at least 3 coaches is a non-negotiable, like getting back in the grind myself. So that was one shift. I think the second really important shift was letting go. And that was letting go of expectation of my team and just really going back, because I did this in the beginning, going back to like, I'm leading the way, and those who want to follow will follow. I love you all, and I'll be here for you no matter what, but I'm going. And really letting go of like, I'm a red personality or a ruby. So letting go of trying to be a blue and trying to be like that, like everything's unicorns and roses and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, no, you know I love you. I've proven this to you. I love you. I'm super generous. I'm probably overly generous, overly gift, overly nice. So like if my team doesn't know that, then they don't know me, right? But like really just going like, sorry, I'm going balls to the wall. You're either with me or you're not. If you're not, great. I'm not cutting you out of my life or out of the team, but we're going. So really a big part of the shift was stopping relying on people who are doing it for me rather than doing it for themselves and had that intrinsic motivation, or thinking like, well, if this person like just signs this one more coach, they'll be diamond. So I can go 5-star. Well, F you. Like if you haven't signed one coach to go diamond, guess what? Here's your newsflash. They're not going to go diamond. They're not. Like if they've been sitting there one coach shy for the last 6 months, stop thinking they're going to do it. Find someone to replace them. And I don't mean replace them like you. I think you know what I mean. Like find somebody else who's going to actually do it. So those are probably my two biggest mindset shifts. What did I do to inspire your leaders? I think Julia asked when you decided to go for elite, what did you do to inspire leaders and how did you go for it? I think, again, just doing it myself, doing what I needed to do myself, and then being really clear with what I was going for. And, just letting them know, like, this is what I'm hoping for the team. And this is why. Yes, it's good for me, but this is why it's also good for you. And letting them know. And then again, letting go of expectation, constantly finding new people to, I don't know, I guess just kind of that whole mindset of like not counting your chickens before they hatch, so to speak. just not, I mean, it sounds really horrible to say not counting on anybody because of course it's a team effort and you do have to count on people, but at the same time, not counting on people because nobody cares about your business as much as you do, if that makes sense. Yeah, Julia, I would just say like, you just have to do it. And that's the only way to inspire them is to just do it. Gina, attracting business building coaches versus discount coaches. First of all, I don't talk to anybody about being a discount coach. I let the discount coaches come to me and I offer the opportunity to everybody, but I don't say the word discount coach. And I never purposely sign someone with the intention that they're going to be a discount coach. I treat them all the same when they come in and then let them decide from there. But secondly, a big shift that I worked with actually Melissa this year coming into 2018. I'm like, I've got to do something different because guys, I am not the greatest recruiter. It's definitely my Achilles. And she said, because fitness to me is very natural, yada, 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 but I'm very much more about a lifestyle, meaning I want you to work out and eat right just so that you feel good and you can do the other things that you love. Be present with your family. Like I don't need you to be as obsessed with nutrition as Melissa is. Like that's not my passion, so to speak. My passion is living a freaking kick-ass life that makes you happy. And so in doing that, she's like, not that you want to be like Lindsay Matway, but she only ever talks about the business. Make that shift. Look at some of those people who really only ever post about the business and always have a business spin. She's like, follow those people for a bit and look at their style and make it you. And her advice to me was, you may not get as much engagement or activity or likes or comments. She goes, but I promise you the conversations you have will change and they'll be easier. And Melissa gives me advice, I follow it. So right away in January of 2018, I had to look at my calendar to see what year it was. Right away in January of 2018, I made the shift from posting on Facebook. And Christina, I'm so sorry if I'm going to give your team advice that goes against what you say. But for me, I made the shift from posting on Facebook 3 times a day to really, and I never do engage. I almost never do engagement posts anymore. Like I'm just not worried about it. What I do is I put out super high quality pictures that look like I have a photographer in my house because I have an iPhone X and I have a niece who lives with me. So she follows me around and takes pictures of me. Okay. That's where the pictures come from. But you look at some of the really great recruiters and that's what they have. Right. So high quality pictures and it's always about the business. Always. It always comes back to the business. And immediately my engagement went down. My likes went down. My comments went down. Like, oh my God, like 20 people have reacted to my picture. Like shit, I'm freaking out inside. But you know what's happened? Every single inbox conversation I have is easy. It's become easy to recruit. And when someone comes to me, they're already sold. They already know that they want to do it. And then I also just said, when someone comes to me, I have a lot more people coming to me. I still do. I still do all of my invites, and I'm inviting hard, but guess what? When I invite a cold invite and they go to my page, what do they see? They see this really like successful businesswoman, right? Because that's who I want to attract. So that was a huge change for me. And it's still every once in a while, like I'll send Melissa a text. I'm like, God, like my engagement's really down. Like nobody's seeing my stuff. I feel like, oh, what's happening? Like, should I go back and post more? Like, should I go back to posting the way that I was? Like everybody preaches 3 times a day, yada, yada, yada. And then Melissa will always text me, how are your conversations on, how are those inbox conversations going? I'm like, awesome. Just keep doing what you're doing. So that was a big, big, big change for me. It also makes it really easy because I can put the same stuff on Instagram as I can on my like page. I do have 2 really different audiences. And so I'm post on Instagram once a day and Facebook once a day, generally speaking about the same thing. A lot of times the same picture, more or less. And that has made a really big difference. So Gina, I hope that helps answer your question about attracting business builders. I'm talking about the business more, and I'm talking about the money aspect.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really fantastic advice. So I'm one that does both. I do the fitness, especially now that I've got this hot body. I do both, but it's always so amazing to hear someone else's perspective and to take information and say, okay, I see, and start making adjustments when you see fit. Yeah.
And you're passionate about that because you're rocking your bod right now, like, hell yeah, why not? And I, I'll say like, it's important that they get that full body picture every once in a while. They need to know that I'm still fit. But yeah, like it's, and that's why, talking about nutrition works for Melissa because she is mad passionate about it. Right. I am clearly mad passionate about helping women make a legit income, It
absolutely speaks to your why. When you know what your why is, then the message becomes about that. And that's clearly what you're doing. Yeah. So I applaud that. That's awesome. Really, really great information. Okay. So it's almost 11 over here, almost 10 where you're at. And so I'm going to let you go. But again, thank you so very much. I feel now I'm going to bring the big guns next week for your team.
Thank you. So excited to hear from you.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate it. You guys, please share this link with everybody, not just your leaders. Everybody needs to hear this call. So you guys, happy Friday. See you at Super Saturday tomorrow. Get to Super Saturday if you're not in Miami. Have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Bye.